get it tonight.
Hey, what's up you guys? Jackjackhd here. So today I'm going to be showing you guys how to make this new auto start that I thought of. On my channel I have 3 other auto starts, and this one might be my favorite one so far. So you start your 1v1, walk in front, then other person does the same thing. Says get ready, then go, and then the light reappears. Here are the devices that I use for this mechanic. I use the customizable spotlight. There are 2 types of spotlights in Fortnite Creative. I use the customizable ones, and all I did was I resized it, and then I had obviously 2 of them on both sides of the ramp. Also, I have a invisible barrier obviously in the middle of our ramps. Another thing I have are triggers on both sides of the wall, trick tile with a wooden wall, so when you're doing your 1v1 you can't build anything in front of you, and the reason for that is because this trick tile is making the wooden wall invisible. Last thing that I used was a bunch of triggers in order to have the mechanics for this auto start. Alright, so before we get started, make sure you guys leave a like if you guys enjoy this type of content. Subscribe if you are interested in watching other Fortnite tutorials and, Fortnite content from me. Let's get right into it. So first thing we need, go to devices. We're going to select the barrier. So if you haven't seen my barrier video or haven't seen it for yourself, there's actually 2 types of barriers in the devices. We're going to actually use a new one, which is at the very top. With this, we have the barrier. We're going to go ahead and center it so it's in the middle of our ramps. Next, go into the settings. Depending on what direction, you're going to have to switch the barrier width or the barrier depth in order to flatten the barrier. And we're going to set it to 0.5, like so. Next, what I'll do is decrease the height. I'm going to drop it to 0.5 as well, like so. Okay, so I actually forgot something. This is actually in the future. If the barrier looks different, it's just because I totally forgot to change the settings for the barrier. But here are the settings that you'll need for your barrier. Barrier style. Invisible. Enable when receiving from, have this set to channel 7. Disable when receiving from, have this set to channel 10. Next, to galleries, we're going to type in CUST for custom. And we got our customizable light gallery. This is a really cool gallery. In here, we're going to open this. We're going to select the one on the left, which is a single spotlight. With the spotlight, what we're going to do is go into the settings. Alright, so the settings you're going to change are all in the all options, and I'll just show you all the options that need to be changed. So color, you can decide what color you want your spotlight to be. I chose purple, but you can go ahead and make your spotlight however you like. Color change time, instant. Time on team filter, turn this to none. Turn off team filter, turn this to none. Turn on when receiving from, set this to channel 7. Turn off when received from, set this to channel 10. So next, what we're going to do is actually size it, make sure that it's in the middle of our ramps like so. So now what you can do is just resize your spotlight how large you want it. Also, if you need to, you can also put it underneath the ground so you have more of the light showing. Once you are happy with the size of your spotlight, what you can do next, copy the spotlight using the right on the D-pad, select it so it turns green. Grab the floor as well, select it, grab it, and then place it on the other side of your ramps, like so. And now we have a duplicate. Another option I totally forgot, you can actually increase the brightness of the spotlight if you wish. On default it's set to 5, but you can decide if you want it brighter. Alright, so I sized up the spotlight so it's the size of my barrier. If you want, you can, design your spotlights however you like. You can make it larger, you can make it smaller. You can just be creative. Next, what we're going to do is get a trigger. 2 devices, trigger. With the trigger, 2 settings. Alright, so here's the options. Triggered by vehicles, turn that to off. Triggered by sequencers, off. Reset delay, I suggest having this set to 3 seconds. Trigger sound, disabled. Trigger VFX, disabled. Visible in-game, turn this to no. When triggered, transmit on, set this to channel 1. Alright, so what we're going to do now, we're going to take the trigger and actually resize it so it's the size of one of the sides of the barrier. So what we're going to do is rotate the trigger and also resize it so it's the same size as the barrier. Now I'll leave it up to you guys on doing that. Alright, so there you go. I have finished one side of my barrier. If you want, this is what I suggest. Make sure that it's pretty thin. And what I recommend is that the trigger doesn't go through the barrier. you don't want one player to activate 2 triggers by accident. So once you got that done, what we're going to do is copy it, select the trigger and the floor, and wrap around, bring it onto the other side, and place another one. So now we have 2, 1 per side. So go to your new trigger, go into the settings. The settings will change in here, will simply be when trigger transmit on. We're just going to set this to channel 2. Last thing that we'll do is place down our trick tile in order for us to have like a invisible wall in front of us so we can't build where that barrier is. So simply place a wall. Next, go to devices, go to trick tile. With the trick tile, go and just place it on your wooden wall. Go into the trick tile settings, have activation delay, have this set to none. Activated on game start, you want this turned to yes, so the wall gets disabled or disappears once the game starts. Trigger feedback, turn this to none. So there you go, we have set up our auto start. Last thing that we need to do is set up our mechanics in order for this auto start to work correctly. 2 devices, we're gonna get another trigger. We're gonna take this trigger and then set up our mechanics. Alright, so to be honest with you guys, I actually made the auto start mechanics already. Also, I have older footage, so I'll just show you guys how to do it from old footage. But it's the exact same thing and exact same settings. Alright, so continue following what I'm doing. Alright, so we're going to have a handful of devices in order for our auto start to work. Well, this first trigger here, we're going to go into the settings. Triggered by player, we're going to set this to off. Triggered by vehicle, turn this to off. Triggered by sequencers, we're going to set this to off. Visible in-game, you can set this to no. So it's invisible when the game starts. Trigger when receiving from, we're going to set this to channel 1. When trigger transmit on, we're going to set this to channel 3. We're going to go ahead and take this and lift it up a little bit. Then we actually copy it, make a second trigger just underneath it, go into that settings. And what we're going to change is trigger when receiving from, we're going to set this to channel 2. Confirm. And go ahead and take that trigger, copy it. Third trigger, go into the settings. Transmit every X triggers. We're going to set this to 2. Reset times triggered when receiving from. We're going to set this to channel 7. Trigger when receiving from. We're going to set this to channel 3. One trigger transmit on. Set this to channel 5. Confirm. All right, we're going to copy this, drag it over. And this trigger, go into the settings. Transmit every X triggers. We're going to set this to 1. Delay, we're going to set this to 3 seconds. If you want, you can actually set this to 2 seconds. It'll actually just disappear the wall faster. Reset times triggered when receiving from. We're going to set this to no channel. Trigger when receiving from. Set this to channel 5. One trigger transmit on. This will be set to channel 10. Confirm. Go ahead and take that trigger and copy it. Go into the settings. We're going to have a delay on this trigger. And this trigger will be the last trigger that actually resets the auto start. Trigger when receiving from, we're going to set this to 10. When trigger transmit on, this will be set to 7. Confirm. Alright, so next what we're going to do is actually make a hood message device, and we're connected with these 2 triggers here. So go to devices, go to hood message device. Alright, into the settings, just change the message, and the message, you can be whatever you want. This is actually the message that's going to pop up once both players are ready to start their 1v1. So maybe like get ready, or maybe even set, all up to you. Time from round start, this hood message device actually starts after 10 seconds, but we're going to disable this, go to off. Display time, we're going to set this to 2 seconds. Text style, this is all up to you, this is preference. I'm going to set it to extra large. Placement, this is all up to you. I would recommend either top center or bottom center. This is all up to you. I'm going to keep it on bottom center. Show when receiving from, we're going to set this to 5, channel 5, like so. We'll confirm. We're going to copy this hood message device and actually connect it with this trigger. Go into this. Once the wall gets disabled, this is the message that pops up. So I'm going to set it to go. Display time, I'm going to set it to 1, so it only shows up for 1 second. Then show when receiving from, we're going to have to change this. We're going to set it to channel 10. So there you go. That is the mechanics for this auto start for your 1v1 maps. Oh, you're back. Okay, so all right, so you got your mechanic done. Let's show you guys a first test. All right, game starts. As you can see, the trick tile did what it's supposed to do, made that wall disappear. So now if I try to build there, I can't. I can build everywhere else, but I can't build in that spot where that barrier is. There is a barrier here, so I can't pass it. Obviously jump over the barrier, then activate the other side. And now we have our message, get ready, then go. Then it returns. We're gonna try it one more time. There you go. works. Alright guys, that is pretty much it. Hopefully you guys have fun making this auto start that I thought of. I've never actually seen anyone do this yet, and you know, we did just get our new barrier device, which is very useful. And before we had our new device, we actually couldn't do stuff like this. We couldn't actually have a invisible barrier that only takes up like a wall space. It just opens up more room for, you know, creativity. If you guys are having issues with building your map, just make sure you have the settings correct for all the devices, all the triggers that are used for the mechanics. If you mess those up, if you mess up the channels, then you'll just run into a lot of issues. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure you guys leave a like on this video if you guys enjoyed and thought this video was helpful. Subscribe if you are new and are interested in other videos from me. Also, use code JackJackhd in the item shop if you do want to support me. #ad. I'll see you guys next time. Take it easy, guys. Peace.